A very good evening to you from wherever you are. We are back again. This is episode 5. By the way, we are pushing on each and every week. We get to meet here and get to learn and also unlearn. And it's amazing for this journey that in TechWave podcast, we get to bring you guests who are in the tech industry, who have been working behind the scenes. Maybe some of them you have known them, some of them you may have never known, never have gotten a chance to know them. But I'm bringing all these people to you so that we get to learn from them. Yeah, so every day in the tech industry, or every time, I make sure that I bring you people who are going to educate you from the tech industry so that you get to learn. So today I'm joined with a friend of mine. I have so many friends. I have always been saying a friend of mine. So I'm in the tech industry. That's why I get to have many friends who are in the tech industry. So another day I'm joined with a friend of mine who is in the tech industry. I'll give him a chance to introduce himself. But before that, thank you so much for watching and also sharing these amazing episodes that we have been doing, and also for the comments, and we believe that you are getting to learn a lot from us. My name is Kanyingi Chege, and let's get started. So karibu sana, my friend.
Santi sana.
Yeah, so you can get to introduce yourself, who you are. I think it's better ikitoka kwako.
Okay.
Yeah.
My name is Daniel Dzanga. Who am I? Hey. Unajua hii swali about me inakuwa ngumu sana kujibu, especially when you go to interviews.
Yeah.
You struggle so much to get the words to say.
Yeah.
But maybe I can talk about my profession and what I do, and then maybe if you have more questions, then I can
you
answer.
can proceed. Yeah.
So I am a geospatial engineer by trade, but I haven't been doing geospatial engineering. I think for the past 2 years I have been in the project management space, and currently I'm working as a monitoring and evaluation officer at a conservation NGO in Nairobi. So
So you mentioned geospatial engineering, and I know the most people wameshika tu hiyo jina engineering. Hizo vitu zingine wewe tu ndio unaweza tuambia who is a geospatial engineer? Because you are one, so you can tell us who are you.
na kuelewa sasa unaona shida hapo kwa hiyo geospatial engineering. The Engineers Board of Kenya do not accredit us as engineers.
Kwa nini?
Unfortunately.
Kwa nini?
Ni two story mingi. I think they need to revisit and really rethink through what they understand an engineer is. One of my lecturers used to tell us that an engineer is someone who designs and builds systems and maintains them. So it's all about systems.
What about implementation?
And even implementation. Yote too. Because it's in the design. Of course, if you design, you have to implement.
Yeah.
So you design, build, implement, maintain. All of that. And it's a system.
Yeah.
Electrical engineers do electrical systems. Mechanical engineers do mechanical systems. And civil engineers do civil and construction systems. Yeah, because it's a system. It's a component. It has so many components. And so geospatial engineering is an engineering. Because we design, build, maintain, implement systems around the geospatial space.
So there is the word geography, like the geo itself. Yes. So geography pia imetoka kwa the same word geo.
Yeah.
So geo means earth. Ama
we could say earth.
Basi I was very good in geography. Because kana kubuka hiyo. I've tried.
It's something to do with geography.
Yes,
so the earth, the stars, the sun, the moon, all of the things that are in the geographical systems. Then the spatial bit is to do with
the space.
Not even, it's actually space, but what we would say better is location. That's ziko synonyms, but sinaona zina sijui explain aje. But yeah, it's to do with space and location. And not space, so anywhere there is space. that's spatial. And I think at Apple had a very good example because they say that their earbuds ziko na kitu wanaita spatial audio. So it's to do with capturing the space.
Yeah.
But for us, it's much more of location rather than space. Yeah.
So this is a course that someone gets to do in the university?
Yes.
As a degree, bachelor degree?
Yes, as a bachelor degree. I think there are places where it's been divided because it's a lot of things.
Yeah.
So there are places where it's been divided. But if you went to a couple of big universities in Kenya, you'll find it. It's either called Geospatial Engineering or Geomatics Engineering.
So it's not a specialization of a certain engineering that we know. It's a special engineering program that is.
It's a special engineering program on its own.
Yeah, because why I'm asking that is because telecommunication engineering is a specialization of electrical engineering. Yes. So I thought that's the same thing that happened.
So for us, the specialization is, for example, if you went down and did something we call land surveying and management. That's now a specialization of geospatial engineering.
Okay.
Or if you went to do, which one? Another one that comes from on the top of my mind, cartography. So a cartographer is a geospatial engineer can be a cartographer. So
who's a cartographer? Maybe that one in my thought. We need to be educated about that.
A cartographer is a map maker, someone who makes maps.
Okay. So how did you get the thought of doing that course? Maybe you can take us back to your background. So ni shule gani ilikuinspire about? Because most of the things watu wanazanga to high school, Laima. Something happened to you. Maybe geography was so sweet to you. You decided, I'm going to pursue this.
It's a funny story. I never actually knew that course until I think Form 3. Yep. That's when I first came to know that there's something like that. I've always wanted to be, I think, a doctor.
Yeah.
But niko na phobia ya damu. Sikangi poa kukiona damu karibu. So unaona hapo siwezi fanya udaktari. Nikafikiria kuwa architect because I love drawing. Then I thought maybe that's not necessarily something I want to do, but I want to do something more in the landscape space. Yeah. If not, I think one of the other things I thought about doing was aeronautical engineering, just being an engineer. Mandege. And then I think it was in Form 3 when we are getting to start thinking about choosing the courses for job. Yeah. That's when my dad mentioned that there's this thing called geospatial engineering. And maybe I think I might need to pull you back. So my dad is actually in this space.
Okay.
My dad is something we call a photogrammetrist. Yeah. It is a hard name. Poleni sana.
I will not repeat it because mimi nitaimjimeza ulimi yangu.
So I never knew exactly what he used to do, but I used to go with him to work and I would see he would sit down on a big machine. It looks like a machine that can iko like two places where you can put your eyes. And you can kind of see stereo vision.
So that is kwa space too, like normal.
It's like a big machine. It's like a big machine. You can see. It's more like a VR headset, but not a VR headset juu unaingiza kichwa
yote hapo
macho yote mbili
not even like a camera venye unachungulianga na moja.
But if you view in, you can kind of see what we call a stereo view of the earth surface, depending. Zile alikuwa ananionyesha sana zilikuwa za Nairobi, so mimi nilikuwa Shanghai ni nini, but hajai niambia. So I never knew all of it until when I got to now campus and started learning those things. That's when I knew, okay, so this is what my dad actually used to do. But so I needed to give that context. So he's been in that space for the longest time. He retired, I think, in 2021. 2021. So he's been in that space. So he told me, I know you want to do these kinds of engineering, you want to do architecture, landscape, and all of these things, but it might be good to just put this geospatial one because it's not a bad course.
Yeah, it's not a bad one.
Him being at that point an assistant, what do you call him? Assistant technical officer at the University of Nairobi, doing some bit of practical teaching on the course.
Yeah.
Alikuwa ameona this potential
of the same,
to have people come in, and it wasn't a lot. I think alikuwa anatuambia most of his classes they had like 18 students. And this is University of Nairobi, so you expect there to be 1,000.
Si kama course zingine unapata mko 1,000 people and then kuna wenye wali graduate kama 10,000 from other universities.
So at that time there weren't so many people doing it, and even especially in Kenya, and even in Kenya what people knew about it was they knew if you did surveying you are doing that course. So that's what it was called surveying, and I think cartography or something that from the early years. And then as the field progressed, that's when now they started to think about it's much more than just surveying. We are doing so much more than just land surveying. We are even doing water, what we call hydrographic surveying. We are doing aerial surveying. We are doing so many different kinds of surveying. So why limit it to that space surveying? Let's call it as it is. And so that's how they coined that geospatial engineering. So he told me, weka tutaona kenta kam. Mimi niliweka nikajitia bidii, nikapata grade zote zenye nilikuwa nataka. Nikifikiria by then naweza hack kuingia architecture ya JKUAT. But things didn't turn out the way I wanted them. I was called for my third choice, which was now that Geospatial Engineering at the University of Nairobi.
But mostly ni kama wanaonanga wanafanyanga tu like job ama squeeze ni coops niona ni kama wanafanyanga hivi, if you just put a course in your list yenye haina watu wengi
itachukuliwa,
utapewa hiyo juu. They also need to balance these courses. So mostly ni kama wanafanyanga. So ukijaribu kuweka, na by then this is something I used to have been telling people, sana those who come to me and ask for advice, which course do I choose? I only have these options. Naambianga tu mtu tafadhali, when you are choosing, put a course that you can do as one of the options. Because unajua huwezi weka tu at course moja kwa all the universities. You have to choose like several courses from different universities. Please choose a course that unaweza fanya, because wengine unapatanga ameweka business, alafu the other one ni medicine, the other one ni something opposite from, haiko kwa the same space.
So I think there's that, but I think for me, because you see, I'm being advised by someone who is actually in that field. I didn't think it's something that I couldn't do. It's just that it wasn't my first option.
Okay.
So tulibattle kiasi na mzae hiyo mwaka ya kwanza, but nikaona hii ndio imekam, wacha tuidu. So I joined University of Nairobi, did the course.
For how many years?
For 5 years. It's an engineering course, so definitely it will be 5 years. But if you do it actually in some other universities in Kenya, it's actually been taken down to around 4 years. 4 years, I think in JKUAT, probably. I'm not sure. Let me not say something I don't know. Alafu mnitafute huko nje. Mniulize, mniambie. But in the University of Nairobi, it's 5 years.
5 years.
You do it, you finish, graduate. You either now decide to join the Institution of Surveyors of Kenya as a graduate member, because that's the professional body that houses us. And so they are different. So, and I think this was what I was saying in the beginning. Geospatial engineering is very broad. In geospatial engineering, we have surveying. Surveying, we know, all of us know. It's the art of measuring, making measurements on the earth's surface. It's on the earth's surface, above the earth's surface, or below the earth's surface. So that we capture what we call land surveying, ile yenye watu kila mtu anajua. Mashamba, ni land surveyor.
But nikuulize, maybe even tukiwa tu hapo. So, what determines, by the way, I have never done any land search ni hizo, kama nataka kununua plot sijafanya hiyo. So when you are going to do the search, mostly inakuanga about the exact, is the plot location inakuanga in terms of coordinates, ama inakuanga in terms of what? Because hiyo ni kitu sijaielewa. Maybe you can tell us more about that.
That's a very long one, but so how that system works is people, when the British were doing the first surveying in Kenya, called it the Ordnance. I think it was Ordnance something surveying.
Yeah.
So they did what we do. We create like a control. So that control helps us to come in and then now I can decide leo nikipima kutoka hapa na pale niko na some to location about this place. I have I have what we call coordinates. Coordinates ni kama mlifanya maths mnajua an idea of
coordinates itabidi washike hii class
ile kitu tulikuwa tunaita Cartesian plane x y that's coordinates. So for us we just add another one called z which is now the height.
Ni z si z
z
tuliambiwa z
ina depend mali ulisoma kizungu
wanajua ni z
so z whatever. That gives the height. So we have control systems that help us to now measure that Cartesian plane on the Earth's surface. And maybe I can probably go a bit back. So najua kuna watu wanajitanga flat earthers who think that the world is flat. No, the world is not flat. Images from satellites have shown us that it's spherical, but we call it much more because see a proper sphere. Ikona some, it is flattened at the poles. So huku juu iko flat, so inakaa ni kama ni kaoval lakini si kaoval. Inaitwa I think it's called an oblate spheroid. And I'm sorry, there are so many terms in my course. So mnaweza google
tu wakisikia tu wataenda google tu inawasaidia kidogo. ChatGPT itawasaidia pia.
ChatGPT itakupatia everything you want to know. So there's that we call an oblate spheroid. So when the people who started thinking about measuring places on the Earth's surface came in, they decided we can create a system that fits within this oblate spheroid, but we can project it onto like a flat surface, so that we have our X and Y and Z, because it's difficult to measure something if it's not on a flat surface. So we projected it into a flat surface and we did some to kidogo maths. Hata nimekuja na t-shirt niko na maths kidogo.
Naona du.
So hii integration nini we call this the Navier-Stokes equation. I will not explain what it is. This one is half.
Sijasoma sijaona hiyo kwa electrical engineering
iko kwa
I think iko
ni venye tu umesahau.
Hatujatumia hizo u na nini. I think tumetumia something different.
Ini mu anyway the idea was to point you to that we do some to conversions to do that projection. So once we have now that flat surface, so we can now start making measurements. So they did that a while ago. I think they used stars to kind of point down to a system where they can make the projection, and then now had the projection that they are using. And so now what they've been doing is they now center in on different geographical areas. So kama Kenya, we can work with the global coordinate system. But we have one that is specific to Kenya. And it's based on a lot of things that I don't want to mention juu itakuwa vitu mingi, but it's based on that idea of the oblate spheroid as a datum. And then we have now that projection done, and so we have it in what we usually call Cassini. Hii ni term ya aitawahusu sana watu wenye wanunua shamba. We jua tu sisi wenye tunafanya hiyo calculation tukikupimia shamba yako tukisubdivide, we do it in that Cassini Cassini coordinate system. And then now we convert it. So when you now come to Kenya and at the Land Survey of Kenya, and the Ministry of Lands, let me just call it the Ministry of Lands, because that's the body that is dealing with all of these things about land. So they have in their systems a database that houses that projection of Kenya. And now we can now subdivide and pick and do, because it's just an X and Y. So unapiga tu hesabu yako niko na hii parcel ya land alafu na project kwa hiyo Cartesian. So that's how they store that information. So but now when you come to do the search, what they do, because we have apportioned every different kind of land to a certain number, we now use that number to do the search. So it's usually a registration number. For example, in Nairobi, you will see LR number this and this. I've forgotten how many figures it is. That's standing for land registration number, this and this and this. We add blocks because sometimes you have blocks in Nairobi. For example, I think Ruai was one block, things like that. So it's based on that thing. So you have that identifier. Then now you go to that system because it's unique to your portion of land. It will find it, and then now you can bring. So they have a database where now they have who is the proprietor of this portion of land. Huyu ndo mwenye shamba, maybe. And because we keep records in detail, we even have historical information of who actually started owning this land from Kitambo.
So what happens in terms of kama naonanga sometimes barabara ikijengwa. So does it mean that the British were wise enough to know that this place is okay to have barabara imepita hapo? Ama inakuanga tu ni kitu inakuanga reviewed pole tu tukiendelea. And then the other thing ni how do you determine that plot ni sawa kuna hizo records plot hadi hapa, I don't know even how it was subdivided. Unapata kuna watu wako na more, kuna watu wako na less. So hiyo time watu walikuwa subdivided, I think it was after the colonial period ama ni before, I don't know what that happened. So what guided kujua huyu akona mingi huyu akona kidogo?
There is nothing that guided that. So when the British colonizers were here, they owned large tracts of land. And so when they were doing their mapping of that land, you could find it in those blocks that I was telling you about. So when now they seized the reign over Kenya, and it went back to now the people, and it became the Republic of Kenya and all of that, and we had now ministries and all of that. So now the government becomes now the new owner of all land in Kenya. And actually, even during colonization, it was the British government that was owning. Actually, the Queen was the owner of
kila kitu ilikuwa yake.
Now the ownership was passed down to the government. And so as cities develop, we have these people called planners who kind of think about maybe our city has to be in zonal. So we do zonal development. So for example, we can have a concentric circle. So we have like a center, and then ikona some circles. So in the first Kamini circle, kuna maybe let's say commercial, and then we have maybe some bit of residential, and sometimes maybe mixed residential and commercial. So like that. So it goes going around. So for example, like for Nairobi, the center is actually the CBD. It's actually almost center in Nairobi County. If you actually look at it, it goes somewhere just, it's slightly to the lower part of the county. But it's the center of all activities. So that's why you'll find a lot of commercial activities are within the CBD. And then now we have another concentric circle hapo ya Parklands, Westlands, Kilimani, Lavington. Hapo ni some bit of residential, mixed residential. And then now we go as we continue. So tunafika hadi Thika na Juja. All of these places are within your two concentric circle. And I think we actually call it the Nairobi metropolitan area. So any area within that has ease of access with Nairobi, iko within that metropolitan area. So it's planners who came and said, we'll have this mixed residential here. But now when you come up with a settlement zone, you need to be able to provide access. So that's why we have to design roads in that access. So we know this block has these portions, but we have to make sure that it's easy to access the main road from anywhere. So we would find and it's very common in Nairobi. You'll find the blocks are very regular.
Yeah.
It's a square, and then kuna barabara inside, barabara huku chini, and maybe sometimes even barabara katikati.
For accessibility.
Because how would you get to your property without a road? So they bring all of that into the design of the planning of the development, and then now once we start subdividing land, that's when now when you come to the person who will subdivide for you the land. It's a long process. I won't go over everything, but when you come to now your subdivision, you will actually be told you have access on this road and you have access on this road, and you'll be told kuna hizi barabara za 6 meters na kuna barabara za 9 meters. So the 9 meter road is the bigger access road, and then the 6 meter road ni hizi sasa za katikati ya manyumba. Sometimes it's even 3 meter depending on how the
so that's why sometimes when the government want to expand the road inabidingi walipe watu because already wana expand, maybe walikuwa wamedesign ni ya 4 meters ama 5 meters ama 6 meters and then now they want to use 20 meters. So hiyo ni part ya watu itabidi wa compensate ndio waitumie.
But now for major roads it's not 9 meters. I've forgotten the actual number, but it's a huge number, almost close to 30 meter way leave that is left for major roads. So that's, for example, for us it's the Thika Superhighway, Mombasa Road, Wayaki Way. That's a major road, and that's why you see for example, if you check Thika Road, a lot of the people who wako karibu na barabara wameandikiwa X na the National Construction Authority because they've built on the way leave of the road. So because we don't know how the development will work, so we give a way leave. We say probably, for example, let me pick a good example, Kangundo Road. Kangundo Road sai kumejana a buzz of activities, but when it was being designed, they had already considered that the way leave would probably be, I think that one is probably like 18-20 meters. So 18-20 meters from the 9 meters ama 10 meters from the center, and then the other 10 meters from the other center. That's the way leave of the road. So when they built the road sai ako ka barabara sai nika, I think it's close to like 3 or 4 meters ukiongeza the shoulders. But if you check, you'll see the posts za stima ziko huko mwisho because that's the end of the way leave. So that hiyo yote ukijenga hapo sasa unaona serikali kuja kukutoa uko already kwa way leave ya barabara.
So hata tukisema barabara ni 5 meters ama less even less, kuna kuanga na pia allowance yenye
for expansion. But mostly that's mostly for major access roads. So for example, you nakwambia Kangundo Road, maybe for example if you go to some estates, there is that one major access road that we all can use. So that one has a bigger way leave than the rest of the ones. But now when you go to inside ndani ya store, that's where you'll find like 3 meter roads because the access is maybe wewe na neighbor wako.
Sasa hapo sana the rural areas mostly hata hawachangi kubwa sana because ni ndani kabisa in a way that haiwezi kuwa main road na haina watu wengi wanatumia sana. Basi geospatial ni
so that is that is just the surveying part, the land surveying part. We have something we call because surveying is both land surveying, we have hydrographic surveying, so water surveying. We do things we call bathymetric surveys. That's how we get to know that the sea level is this side, this hivi. That's how we know uku chini kufika ni this height from uko juu. We do that bathymetric survey, and it's very useful actually for the military. And a lot of military applications are within naval, watu wa navy. They need someone who does that assessment for them, so that they know how they are going to traverse that water. So we do that. Then there's this thing we call aerial surveying. Aerial surveying is we get on a plane, squeeze site tunatumia drones. So it's a bit easier, but kitambo ilikuwa mnapanda ndege, or rather we have a pilot, and on the plane there's mounted a big sensor, a very big sensor that can take a photo of the ground.
Yeah.
So we do a flight plan just the way you do drone.
Oh, no moto.
Drone. Benye tu kama mse amedu drone anajua unatengenezanga flight plan.
Flight plan, yeah.
So we do a flight plan and we say we want to maybe map Nairobi. So tunatengeneza flight plan yenye iko Nairobi, and then we can actually take pictures of Nairobi from the air. That's aerial surveying. So we've expanded aerial surveying to even satellite. So we take images from satellites and we have them viewed, and we can use them to do whatever analysis you're trying to do. And then now I think that's the last stage, hydrographical land, which we call cadastral, aerial. Don't think there's another one. The other one is much less out of surveying, but now it's something we call now cartography. Cartography, which I said is the art of map making. Any map you see, it's a cartographer that has made it.
Yeah.
Utter that word Kato means, I think, map or something. I think it means something to do with map.
So map by before the machines came,
they were hand drawn.
So someone has to like view a certain area. How was that happening?
So what they used to do, and maybe I might be wrong, so mtu wasini blast. I wasn't there, but I know a couple of my lecturers actually hand drew. So in their time, the 70s, 80s, they used to do aerial surveying.
Yeah.
That's how they'll know how, actually, let me say probably from the 60s.
Yeah.
They used to do aerial surveying. So they make a picture of that, and then now they bring that picture, and unaona hiyo machine ilisema ya mzae.
Ilikuwa hiyo kazi.
Wanaeka hizo picha wanazi. So they do, I don't know if drone wasewa drone wenye wanafanyanga video shots wanafanyanga overlapping images, but for us we do overlapping. Why? So that we are able to capture, unajua ndo uweze kuona 3D, lazima hizo images zikuwe ni kama zinalaliana.
Zinalaliana.
So we do ka overlay, both front, side, back, side ingine.
Or they kupatie the
complete view.
Yeah.
And then now we place those images kwa hiyo machine. And then sasa umse hiyo machine iko na some levers, so una move. Kuna moja ina move the x axis, kuna ingine ina move the y axis, and then you have like a pedal where you now press the pen to draw. So it has the machine iko hidden juu kuna light ina shine. Alafu kuna ka extra ka portion kuna plotter. And iko na ka pen, alafu hiyo pen inaweza move x, y, x, okay. X. So inaweza move to any point you want. So what you do, when you have already viewed, umefanya settings zako hapo, zishaingiana, image in overlap, and when you are looking at it, you actually see just one image. Because now that's stereo vision. Yeah. You just see one image, and you can actually unaangalia unaweza ona nikaa uko juu ya KICC for example. Yeah. So when you have that now, you can come in and use those two levers. Utaana hadi place unataka kuchora, and then unafinyilia hiyo pen na mguu. Unachora tu pole ukisonga. So hii ni mathematics kidogo, x y ukienda hadi uchore. So ka river, hiyo ndio inakuwa kazi ngumu. Unajua river si straight. River ni kusonga hivi, so unafaa kumeasure movements zako pole tu kisonga. So that's how they used to do it. So they come up with that plot for a area, and then now they come and probably digitize it baadaye. But that's how they used to do it in the 60s, 70s. Now I think earlier they used to
It's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work. So they used to do some bit of surveying and capture the different points where these things are, and then now they come on a map, because maps za kitambo hazikuwa very detailed. They had enough detail to know what you're doing,
but they were also accurate at the same time.
And very accurate, because they've done their wametengeneza system ya coordinates, wameenda wakapima na machines za surveying. So ninatoka kwa ground niko na points nimecollect hii mti ilikuwa hapa, kulikuwa kuna kamti kingine hapa. So I come and then, because I've done my XY, I start plotting it. So I do with a pencil. They used to do it with a pencil, and they had this wamechora architects, you know that cupboard yenye unaekelanga vitu. So you draw it there, and then they had this thing, I think it's like an elastic ruler yenye ilikuwa inasaidia kuchora along the curves and doing all of those things. So they used to draw with their hands, but they've taken the points from field work they've gone.
Because mimi map yenye nilichora I think nikiwa primary school ilikuwa ile ya geography yenye tulikuwa tunapima na string. Unaambiwa measure the length of that.
Sasa hiyo ni mtu alichora na mkono.
Hiyo ni mtu alichora na mkono, alafu mimi nakuja tu kwa
unakuja kupima.
That's the farthest I went.
But sasa squeezy we can do it digitally. We don't need to go and now start drawing with our hands. We can do the drone imagery and do something we call acha tuseme tu overlaying. Hiyo jina ni ngumu. Inaitwa photogrammetric restitution. And we now overlay those drone imagery na tunatengeneza our stereo and we go into now the softwares that we use and now I can start digitizing. So I have a river and I'm just using my mouse to as a normal digitizer too. Na digitize na hiyo software naweza chora river yangu, naweza chora barabara, naweza chora whatever I captured on the aerial image. So that's how we do it these days. But kitambo ilikuwa na mkono.
So by for those who are floating, because tuko wengi, by the time you use your Google map ukiwa kwa Uber, Bolt, all that, alafu unasikia in 300 meters turn right, turn left, it has come all the way from all that yenye tunasikia ukielezewa. So ni venye tu wewe you are just a user na mimi bado I'm just a user.
Yeah, and I think the digital space has helped us because you know now for the places where we've mapped extremely well, and that's probably akina UK, US, you can actually do a 3D view of where you're going on Google Maps. Hata tuende na hizi software sophisticated. No, on Google Maps, I think you can see hapa ndo nilitumwa, so nikiambia Uber nipeleke hapo itanionyesha hii building venye inakaa. So I even know how to look for it.
How updated are they in the other countries? Because I think in Kenya naonanga zingine ziko a bit.
In Kenya they're still trying to work around. So I don't know if people have seen there used to be, they're still doing that mapping. So how they do it these days is they do wako na gari. Yo gari iko na some sensors. We have some LiDAR sensors. LiDAR ni light detection and ranging. Ni cameras na sensors too. Zinaenda zikidrive along the roads in Kenya and they're capturing what is on the ground. So once they capture that and they've done their aerial or satellite whatever, they come and compile all of that information and create a 3D view of that place. So where it's been done well is UK and maybe US and I think maybe even China, though I am not very sure.
Thing, for a long time of I think when I want to go to a place inabidingi tu nitafute tu from Google Map and then I do 3D, naenda nikiangalia tu barabara inaenda aje, and then so nikifika hapa utan and then sometimes maybe the challenge in Kenya is that updating where you may find if you check where we are right now, you see that this building haijaisha lakini ishaisha.
It's a lot of work, but it's not maybe I'm capturing it is at nikani simple. It's a lot of work and it needs a lot of people doing it, but now you see most of what Google is currently doing is it's using a lot of what we call volunteered geographic information. So ni wase wanasoma hii course yetu wanatokea wanakam wanafanya some mapping exercises with akina Google akina Red Cross just to get to have a view of places. But I like what Google have been doing in Kenya. We have images so actually ukienda place unaweza tafuta hapo na utaonyeshwa at least an image of how it looks like. So sometimes it's very outdated but at least you have an idea. So hata ukienda unaweza ona. So they're trying to do it but it's a lot of work. It's not something they can do in 1 year. Something they need to do probably over a couple of years. Unless sasa tuongeze a lot of more people into that industry. But you see pia pesa pia easy ma drone na whatever I'm telling you, they are expensive, especially if you want like really good quality. It's slightly expensive so not everyone can afford it. Not even everyone can use it, so it's mostly left to the big companies to do it. But you see even for them, is it bringing money for me so that I do it? if it's bringing money for me, then I can actually work together with people. Though there are people who are actually giving themselves out and doing a lot of volunteering and coming up with a lot of open source programs that can help us do all of that. But it's tedious work. It's a lot of work. So it will take time until we've fully gotten to a place where I can be here and I know where I'm going and I can see it even on the map and I have a 3D view of that in Kenya. In the UK, already in London, it's fully 3D. But in other places, it's still
actually in growing. Kenya, the most updated places maybe just in Nairobi. Outside Nairobi, not all places are captured by that. I have a question. I have been able to see even how other country cities looks like. Just using that 3D. Do we call it map or whatever?
We can call it a map.
3D map. But there's a time I wanted to see how China looks like. And the time I wanted to see how Ethiopia looks like. And they don't have that. And I noticed some of the countries, I think they have like seated Google to do the same thing in their country. I don't know whether it's something you have interacted with or...
The restrictions sometimes are there. One of the things we learn is that, and everyone knows that, we live in a world where there is military power and stuff like that. So definitely, I can't give away my position. So if you notice, a lot of the places in Kenya where we have, if you go, there's this tool, maybe you can go and check in it, or Google Earth. Google Earth. If you go and check that Google Earth, a lot of places where we have military bases, it's redacted. You can't see what is there. I think the only place where it's maybe a bit visible is State House, and it's not. So because we don't want to give away our position, we don't want to give away our the places where we've placed our two staff, and I think for China. For China, I think it's much more, and I don't want to comment so much about it because me see uko, but I think it's much more just trying to make sure that hakuna external influences. Because I know even for China, I think they use a different kind of TikTok. Instagram, hizi apps zenye si tunatumia huko si very common huko. They have like their version
from China by the way. Kuna watu walikuwa wanafanya hivyo and then unakuja nayo hapa haina YouTube. I think it was having YouTube, but hizo zingine zote haziko. You have to download other channels zenye ziko from China.
Yeah, so for China it's much more just, I think, concern external influences and the way they do their systems.
What about the Ethiopia? Because Ethiopia, it happened yesterday. We were having a discussion at work, and actually there was some colleagues who are in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, and they were giving us a feedback of how the city looked like, how good it is, and then in that meeting, I just decided, let me see how Addis looks like. I saw nothing, like in 3D. It's just now at the normal map, you can just see from the normal map.
From the top,
from the aerial view, but not that 3D. So I also noted, like, in Ethiopia, it's also like seated in a way.
It's not, for Ethiopia, it's not restriction. It's just that no one has really taken that time to work and develop that thing, because as I said, it's a lot of work.
It's a lot of work,
and it's a lot of resources. But not all of the countries have. So where they have the resources to do it, they do it. But where they don't have, they don't do it. And maybe I think Nairobi, it has it a bit, because you see, Nairobi is a very big city in East Africa. It's almost Africa, the hub of a lot of activities in East Africa. So that's why we have it there. And you see, because kuna msee anajua, some of my activities need to be done. So people bring in resources to be able to map it out. But for other places, you might not find it. But I think it's a work in progress. I think a lot of the different African countries, for example, and let me talk about the African countries because that's where I think I have a bit of some idea. They're coming together and they're seeing that this thing is important for us. They've been coming together and bringing on a board what we do and creating, because it's important to know where you're going. it's good to know how it looks like, because you can learn a lot about a place if you can just see it. So people are slowly coming on board and taking up those things and creating and a lot of government agencies by there are really pushing that. It's just that it's going to take time. So it's coming. Probably in 2030 we'll have a fully mapped out Africa. But it's probably slow because of resources.
So is geospatial as a course? I think we started as a course, and then now we went to applications. So is it as a course? How can you use it as a course that can help you to do self-employment? Like, what projects can you be able to work on your own without depending on those big companies like Google and all that? Are there opportunities as such?
There are very many opportunities, and maybe I might need to go back kidogo. So there's this other part I didn't speak about. We call it, so there's two kuna GIS, GIS, which stands for Geographic Information System, and then we have remote sensing. So remote sensing deals with being able to measure places without actually being in contact with them, and that's now what we do in aerial surveying, satellite surveying, drone surveying. That's the remote sensing part of it. But now GIS is, it's a lot of things, but me I usually say it's a system where we get to interact with all of the data geospatial. So that is from what we collect when we go to do surveying. It's from what we get from satellite imagery. It's from what we get when you do interviews and we sit down with people and mtu anatuambia hii place iko na hii kitu na hii kitu na hii kitu na hii kitu. And so we have that kind of verbal information that we are getting from people when you do those surveys. So all of that we can get to interact with it on something we call a GIS software. And so you can come and pierce together and you can do hizo overlays zote. Hiyo kitu nisema digitizing, we do it on that. And I think two of the biggest that I might mention, kuna inaitwa ArcGIS. ArcGIS is a proprietary software ile yenye lazima ulipie ndio utumie. And then we have QGIS. QGIS is much more open source, so anyone can use it. So we have that. So in terms of marketing and going out there and doing your own work as a freelancer, you can do work in all of these places. There's only sometimes a bit of restrictions, especially when we talk about land surveying, because you see, if you're doing that, it has to be approved by a body. It has to be approved by the Ministry of Lands, so that you can actually make it as a record, and it can actually become a record in their system. So for that one, it's a bit limited, but what I've been seeing people do, and what I also tried to do is you kind of start working for someone, you start getting contacts, and you become what we call an assistant surveyor. So I am an assistant to this one who has been licensed. Jukuna umse amekuwa licensed, that means whatever work he does inapitishwa to the relevant bodies to approve it. So you do under him, and kidogo you start getting contacts. And then now you can actually go and start getting and naambia umse, hey, by the way, mi udu hiki tu. Kama unahitaji kupimwa shamba, kufanywa subdivision, kufanywa anything to do with land surveying, just call me and I'll do it for you. And so you can go and do that and probably earn a living from it. And I know a lot of people who are actually doing that and earning a living out of it, and they're not necessarily licensed. So what they do is, because I've already worked with this licensed surveyor, and he knows my work, and he can be sure that I do a good job, so he can vouch for me. So I go with him and I tell him I have this work I'm doing, but you see now I'm almost like I'm working under you, but not necessarily under you. So anytime I sign off on something, it's like you, the license surveyor, you're signing off on it. So when now I take it to us to approve, it comes in almost like it's coming from umse or license. Sure. Because it's actually a registration, and actually come and they know that Mimi, I am the assistant to this license surveyor. So that's how people are doing it in terms of the survey side of things. if you decide to go into now the other sides of geospatial, your remote sensing, GIS, hizi zingine, I know people who are in the Navy, who are geospatial engineers. Okay, I don't know them personally, but wako.
Yeah, kuna watu wako huko.
Kuna watu wako huko wanadu hiyo mambo na intelligence and stuff. There's this other side of map making, your cartography. A lot of people need maps.
Yep.
You probably need a map to show where you're located. So a lot of that is done by people, sometimes by companies, but a lot of times by people who are doing freelancing. And then there's, of course, now the side to GIS. So in GIS, you can be a lot of things. You can
it's you to decide the path.
It's you to decide the path to follow. You can decide to become a developer, and you make for people applications that bring in a spatial context. So, for example, the people who made Uber, those are some of them were geospatial engineers by trade. So they just came in. Of course, not always, because you can still learn these things without actually doing the course itself. But a lot of the people who are doing it are actually geospatial engineers. So they come in and they do their development and they create a way where I can link to a map and I can do all of that I need to do. So you can do that kind of development.
Sure.
Or you can make maps, or you can even work for NGOs and do reporting and capture what they are doing from a view of the earth and the maps and all of those things. So it's very, I can't go over all of
wide field. The reason I was asking that is because someone anaweza fikiria tu ni geospatial, so mostly ni kitu iko tu box to one area. So kikosa kufika kwa Google hakuna njia nyingine ya kufanya ama kutumia skills zako.
Kuna njia mingi sana and maybe I didn't capture the geospatial is not just in the naval kwa navy. Pia normal military people need actually geospatial engineers, because that's how they locate their enemies. Even utajua venye palimuko.
Sometimes na pia ukiruka na parachute from up, sometimes you need to learn in by the do they use anything related to maps by the time?
Not necessarily. I think they usually just
have signals, some other type of signals.
Not even signals, but wako place here. I know if I do data if I jump from here, I have like a maybe 30-meter buffer of a landing zone where I can land. But it's for them wenye wanafanya hiyo kazi ni mwenye ana direct mse wa ndege. Ni venye ana direct mse wa ndege. Huyo ndo anafanya hiyo geospatial. So geospatial pia iko kwa airports. Kuna wase wana do geospatial.
So even pilots, they also need to understand more about it's not like ni wewe tu mwenye unafanya geospatial unaweza apply. Even other people also need to understand more about coordinates, maps, all that. So it's not even limited to me as a professional. It's anyone who can get to know about these things and they need them in their work. They can learn. Squeezy, anything is on YouTube. So you can get everything that you need there and learn and know how to do these things. And people are doing tutorials. So it's very vast. It's not limited to just one sector. It's even in audit and business analytics. It's in the tech space. It's everywhere. Because it's what we see, mapping and geospatial and surveying. It's tumesema ni making measurements on the earth surface. We live on the earth surface, so we do geospatial things everywhere. Ukitoka hapa upande matatu, uende hadi home, umefanya something to do with geospatial. Juu umepiga location yako kutoka pale ulikuwa ukachange hadi uko kwingine na unajua mahali ulikuwa unaenda. The other thing ni ukipanda mat na hujui unaenda wapi, na conductor atakwambia nitakushukisha. Sometimes inakuanga hard ku trust that atakushukisha.
So unafanya nini?
Inabidi uingie kwa
Google Maps, unatafuta hii place inakuanga hapa. So I can check.
Alafu nimewahi ona sometimes nimefanya hivyo and then sometimes ukitumia Google Map you have to zoom kabisa at least uweze. Inataka ku recenter. so that ukikaribia hiyo place kama kuna junction ama kuna you are branch into another place, usipata ushapita ndio una realize ushapita. So you notice that you have sometimes, if you are getting near to the location, at least you zoom ndio uone by then iko karibu kunini. Then ukishapita kuna places zingine ukipita you have to go back loud sana. Yeah.
So what Google actually does is in our phones, and it's not just Androids but even iPhones, we have something called a gyrometer. So nika sitaenda to explain what it is, but what it's doing is it can measure how you are facing, what the direction you're facing.
Oh, you're facing, yeah.
So it can sense and know umse simu yake inakaa hivi, so umse ana face probably hivi. So that's what, when we do recentering, that it's using that ka sensor, and it's focusing to where you're looking, so that inajua ukiturn left ni turn ya left ya ukweli, na ukiturn right na left. Hiyo isifanye muone sijui kupima shamba. Sometimes mkono usahau, but ukiturn left
unaangalia ni gani mzito. Mzito ni ya right.
Your story. But anyway, so ukiturn, so you recenter to just know the direction you're turning. So it's using geospatial necessary, but it's a sensor in your phone that can know hizo vitu, easy direction.
Okay, I think it's a whole topic, and I think nimelan pia even how things work, and I hope when you want to watch wamelan. Apart from that, we najua tulijuana na wewe from church, even before you get to do, I think ukifanya hiyo geospatial that time, and ulikuwa unacheza drums. I remember even ukicheza saxophone. So geospatial ilifanya muziki ishe, ama bado unaendelea na zote, unafanyanga zote ama?
Sasa unajua kuna hiki kitu inaitwanga na maybe inaweza sema ndo watu wasionange kani kitu mbaya. It's this thing called being a jack of all trades. Now the quote usually says, or what we know is jack of all trades but master of none. But that's not the full quote.
Tunamalizianga hapo. Mimi najiteteanga sana, nasemanga tu heri nikuwe bora tu nafanya perfect whatever I'm doing, naifanya poa to best of my capabilities. Hiyo ingine kama nitakuwa jack of all trade master of none, au master each and every area I get into.
The full phrase is actually jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one. And the idea behind it is it's promoting versatility. And in our world right now, you can't just be limited to one space. AI and a lot of different activities and zina tufanya tuone there's so much to life, or so much to doing things apart from just my one center view of this. And it's not a bad thing to actually be a master of what you're doing. It's actually a very good thing, because you can be an expert. But sometimes that versatility is needed, especially in a world where we're being constantly told we need to adapt, we need to change. And so for me, my versatility is in that I love music. So it's not ijani toka mi bado napenda muziki, ni venye tu time inaleta shida, so kujipanga nini it's sometimes a bit difficult, but it's something that I'm trying to think about and try and understand how can I be able to create schedules where I can also kind of focus more on music and get to even be kind of a master, because nina feel pia huko nimekuwa a lot of a jack of all trades, because I can play the drums, can play the bass, I can play the sax a bit, lakini mtu asiniite kwa event juu naweza kudisappoint. but I try. So I'm a bit of that jack of those trades, and not necessarily a master, but I'm trying to kind of find a workaround where I can actually try and because it's music is a big love of mine. It's a I started doing or singing when I was a very young boy, and I think, and I don't know, maybe it's an influence from my parents, but my dad used to play a lot of these old songs and this bongo and this ntazitaje bango is the music sound ya wase wa coast. Inaitwa bango.
TZ ni bongo.
TZ ni bongo. Okay. Ya kwetu coastal ni bango.
Western ni benga.
Benga.
Okay.
So kuna hiyo hiyo mzaya alikuwa anapenda kuzicheza sana. He used to love playing music when we were making road trips. And so maybe I think I fell in love with music through him. But yeah, so music is still a love of mine. I'm still hoping to
I have come to realize we inherit a lot of things from our parents.
Yeah,
because juzi tulikuwa na another friend of mine here, and then he was Kevino, you know him. Alikuwa anasema by the way, I think yeye kulearn music, guitar nini ilianza na mzae wake. Alimwona akicheza kitambo akiwa mdogo.
So ukiangalia history actually, a lot of people in history have been taking up their parents' hobbies and activities, and it's sometimes we look at it and we feel like they are boxing us in, but it's something that has been very prevalent, even though wase walitengeneza my dynasties, because unapata umse alikuwa handicraft akapass down to mtoi wake akaanza kuchonga hizo machuma and whatever, and that's how it was passed down and passed down and passed down. So it's something from our history that we pick a lot of what our parents do. So it's not something new to anyone, and if people think it's new, then you probably have a problem.
So and I came to realize this, even us tukifika kuwa wazazi, whatever we choose to do, tuchunge sana. Don't choose something that you don't want your children to get into.
No, but I think
mwizi na unataka tu wasikwe watakuwa.
No, but I think what we get to do probably as parents, and I don't have experience, so mtu asini judge, but I think it's allowing them to see the different spaces of being who they are, and letting them explore. But if they want to still do what you do, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Wafundishe. But if they don't want, it's still okay.
Hiyo umesema kitu ya maana sana. A parent also forcing their children to do whatever they did. Na maybe wengine unapatanga mostly, I don't know that this is the reality, but mostly wale wanatakanga ufanye ni kitu wana feel achieve. So huyu mtoto wangu achangangane afike hapo ndio. Naonanga wengine wakifanya hivyo, but si wote. I'm not saying wenye usema lazima wanakuanga tu achieve, but it happens sana.
Sometimes it's a reality like that, but I think sometimes it's that they're trying to get you to have the best of things, and maybe because they've been there for a while, they've seen that industry being the best for them. So definitely they want you to get into a place where they know you're secure, they know you'll get jobs, you'll get contracts, you'll get stuff that you need to do. You'll get gigs, utapata everything that you need to do. So sometimes they probably do that in terms of thinking about your future, and maybe sometimes even it's a forcing, but I think it's coming and sitting together and namketi msikizane, msigongane, because pia mse anatoka place amekuwa industry for the past 30-40 years, and so when him or her is telling you, and this is something I'd want you to pursue, he's been there, so he knows everything about it, he knows the ins and outs, and as a guide. And probably that's the stance that they come in from. But now it's you coming and saying, I get you, but now napia mi napenda inside ya kitu juu, this is something I've been wanting to do. So I'd want to truly pursue it, and probably it's the parent allowing that child to just grow in that space, na hata encourage, because sometimes that encouragement actually causes us to be able to do more and be better and do better things than they did.
I think it's just getting to agree. Hii kitu umesema being jack of all trade, this is what happened to me. I think do you may realize sahi. So what happened when I was in high school, I get to be helping in church kuconnect sound, kuconnect hizi ilikuwa tu ile ahuja amplifier, that ahuja with the horn speaker. So that time I was never sikuwa nacheza piano, and I got interest to learn to play a piano from that. After kuconnect sound inafanywa jua hiyo ushago ina mambo mingi, kwa tu una connect mic moja tu ama mbili zimetosha, so the rest of the time you are there. So I learned to play a piano. Then nikacheza piano up to form 4 nikamaliza, and then when I came to Nairobi I was still playing piano, but sikuwa more in sound, because now nimetoka kwa horn speaker, alafu napata church nimeenda iko na better sound system compare, so sikuwa nashughulika, but I also transition now to sound, na nikasahau. I don't remember the last time nilicheza keys. sijaipata time, but nasemanga tu nitanunua tu siku moja nikaange tu nayo hapo, at least niguzange. So I see, like when I can play a piano, but not very good. I think I can mesahau. But what I've come to realize that when you are multi-talented, you get to transition from one area to another, and every area inakupeleka to another step. So ni kama venye tu music take you to another step, and I know right now you are also in another step because of music. You also get to another step because of geospatial. So ni kitu nimeona ina happening sana.
I think one of the things I realized is that you get a lot of exposure to a lot of different things, which is a very good thing, especially in our current world. It's important to know what's happening, what's not happening, and so I would encourage people to explore. Where get kujua nini inakubamba, nini ungeza taka kudu. Just explore and see, because it's a possibility of doing a lot of things. Don't hide yourself in that cocoon, but you open up. And me, one of the things I said I'll do is I'll try and make sure that my children get that kind of exposure. So now peleka, and that's why we had so many things in school. We had music, we had drama, we had science and math and all of these things. And sports, just to give to help our brains to develop and think about things in a different way, and not just be hidden in that one space, because you never know. Leo AI inaweza badilisha kazi yako, and what can you do?
Kuna mtu alituambia hapa AI is coming to replace jobs of those people who are not using AI. But it's not replacing jobs for those people who might decide to use it. So
okay. AI is a good thing, and I don't want to talk about it because I think Louis aliongelea fiti sana. But it's about looking at it and thinking through it and seeing how can it help what I'm doing, but making sure pia kukuwa na the right safeguards. Ndio siku na, because you know it's artificial intelligence. What it's doing is it's learning from different things. So when you put in things that are very sensitive, definitely it will learn from those sensitive things. So it's kind of coming up with those safeguards and making sure that even as we explore how to use it, we are not hatuji exposed to a lot of the dangers that are there with it, but we are trying to make sure that even as we use it, we're using it very sensibly. You're not putting your company information there and expecting it not to go in somewhere. It will go, it will record, and it will store it in its servers, and it will always have it and learn from it. But you're putting in, probably making up random numbers and getting to know, how can I build this Excel that does for me this analysis, or how can I even and I think one of the things developers do nowadays is that they have AI help them come up with that initial code, and then now their work is to now just sit through and think through. Nafanya hiyo debugging na najua huku iko sawa, hii iko sawa, hii iko sawa, iko sawa, because what it's doing is it's replacing those menial tasks, because you know what it is it can count numbers faster than any person can ever count a number. It can do those repetitive tasks. Hiyo ku count how many times, for example, mtu aliandika jina similar, utashinda kufungua a 1000 page Excel alafu unaanza ku count individually. You can just pop it in and it can do that sum for you. So it's doing those repetitive tasks, and it's now you learning how does this repetitive task, how can this repetitive task be covered by AI, and now use it, but make sure you use it sensibly. Tafadhali use it sensibly.
Isikuwe ndio inakufikirilia sana.
Isikuwe inakufikirilia, na pia usiku unaweka vitu sensitive hapo. Usiweke bank information yako hapo.
So by the way, do you get to use AI in your career?
Yes, I do get to use AI in my career. As I said, I moved a bit away from the geospatial space. Sai niko a bit into project management and monitoring and evaluation, and a lot of the work I do is dealing with a lot of data and information, and you see that's a lot of repetitive stuff. So I sometimes need an AI tool that can do a summary for me, and then from now my own perspective I can come in and think, because you know while AI is at a point where it can think and synthesize information and come up with conclusions, it's not to the point where it has our feelings. We still have that human perspective that we can add to it. So for me, it does a lot of summary of activities that people have been doing. It helps me to think through how to do this or how to do that. So I use it very much, and even our organization is very open about using it, as long as we are using it sensibly, as long as we are making sure that we are not and even when you use it, you have to attribute that you used AI. Usifanye kitu alafu unaisare hapo unaiacha venye inakaa. No, attribute and say I used AI to help me think through
this,
but the overall idea still I was the one who kind of conceptualized it, na mimi ndo nilifanya hiyo synthesis na nika summary na hizo vitu zote, but I still it helped me do some menial tasks. So I use it a lot. Okay, not a lot. I use it to help me to do those repetitive tasks, so that I can focus on what I really want to do. I can focus on adding that human perspective and human touch, because a lot of project management, it needs a lot of human touch. It needs a lot of thinking through the risks. It needs a lot of thinking through how this is going to be done, how we are moving from one stage to another, how people are coming in, how resources are coming in. Hizo vitu zote, if I can take away the summary part of it, or the collection, or the whatever part of it, na repetition, na AI, and focus on this other part, then it's very helpful.
Sure.
It's very helpful.
So I've seen that you come here with some other things that you may need to tell us what are these. So being a Geospatial Engineer, so hizi ni nini? Unaweza tuelezea ni nini hii? Naona kuna ingine hapa can be looking at it.
Hii kitu, and I don't know if it's very clear, maybe I can just move it a bit here. Hii kitu, what we call it a shaded relief map. Shaded relief means that I can, it's like unaona wase wanachoranga wana shadingi pali kuna shadows. And where usually there's shadows, it's usually place yenye kuna ka barrier that is preventing kuona hiyo side ingine, so tunapata shadow. So easy places where we have, for example, mountains and the light is shining, so unaona kama hapa kuna ka shadow. So that's the idea behind shaded relief. We create shadows from different features on the earth's surface, and we come up with a map that actually visually shows us that this is a mountain here, this is a lake, though imechangiwa kiasi,
to a different color.
This is a river. You can see the rivers, how they are flowing. So that's this is a shaded relief map. And one of the things I said is that the geospatial space has a lot of things to do. So for example, you can actually monetize. So we can come up and I can do monetization of this, and I can create these maps for people, and they can decide and either use it as a reference for a lot of the things that they are doing in terms of the organization. Probably they want to have it on their website, or they can even decide and have it as an art painting. So mtu for example, maybe and maybe this one is a very major, it's a big one. I focus on anything, but the idea is to probably maybe you want to see the Aberdare ranges venye Kaanga. Or maybe you want to have your hometown, and maybe mkona kamto fulani na unataka kuona. So I can come up and do for you that small relief, and you can paste it on your wall. Alafu unaendelea watu wanakama wanakuuliza, and it becomes a talking point for your house. But it's not just the shaded relief. Kuna kitu ingine pia tunaita, and I've forgotten the actual name of it, but you can kind of create it's similar to this, but we accentuate, yani tuna emphasize some features. So we can do that using a lot of different tools, and there are tutorials online. By the way, kuna msi anataka kufikiria, you use hizo software za GIS and Blender. So I think unajua Blender. I know Blender, So Blender can bring in those light sources, and you can do that accentuating, and you can create your own to varying different stuff in this kind of shape or view. Or you can even do, which is something that is also part of what part of what is in my custom package. We can do things we call city light maps. So we kind of capture the city in a way that tunaona two lights. Sijakam nazo, but if you hit me up, I can show you examples.
You share your number. Watu
nita share number yangu. I can show you examples of what that looks like. Ni venye tu this is what I was doing here. I was just trying to find quality material. Juu nataka ukipiga kwa ukuta yako ina kubamba, inakaa fiti. So I was just trying out different materials and just trying out to see how it looks like, because I'm still a small business. Sijafika mali naweza fanya industrial printing nitumie high grade material ile mzito kabisa ile yenye nini, but this one is still a good depiction of what I
matte,
do.
this is gloss.
This is matte, this is gloss. So it depends on the custom we want to make for you. So probably you want to have it if you're putting glass over it, then you pick matte, because unaona sasa glass haita interfere na hiyo glossiness, but if you're going with it just as it is, then we can always pick the glossy side. But
ina shine kidogo, inakaa
so unaona inakaa iko na glass, inakaa sana iko na glass, but it's something we can sit down and work together with you. Siki tunaweza kuexplainia.
Is it expensive? How much do you laugh? Ama wakutafute tu.
Wanitafute tu. Ina depend na package yako, because you see it's taking a bit of resources to be able to come up with this. It's sitting down and thinking through what do you want to see? What do you want to be the centerpiece of your house, of your office? Maybe you even just want a normal map. You don't even want all of these things.
Na ukiwa Nairobi unataka kuwa na map ya ushago kwenu. Ikiwa tu kwa wallpaper.
We can do it.
You can do that. Yeah.
We can do
it. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you that you are doing some other things that hatukuwa imagine zinafanyikanga. Tunazionanga, tunazitumianga tu without even thinking, are there people who do this? Ama ni machines too. But at least today we have gotten to meet you, and we have heard what Geospatial Engineers does. So where can you get to reach you? Any social media? You can get to tell us where you are.
You can. I think the easiest way you can reach me is on my line, my personal line. Nimekwambia tu ndo ninaanza hii biashara. So I don't have a business line, but I have business emails. So you can hit me up on my line, which I think Kanyingi will kind of add it to go.
Unaweza itabidi uiseme
tuko live so 07180 82388.
You can repeat it again, maybe
07180 kama unataka niseme ile format nyingine usahau, but ni 0718 082388. If you can't find me there, you can always find me on my Instagram Dan_Dzanga. You can find me on email. Email ni refu kiasi, so sitaisema hapa, ni refu sana. But you can the easiest way if you want to get me is that number.
Thank you so much for coming. I think your story imekuwa amazing. So me, I said I will be bringing people who are in the tech industry. Najua tech people don't have opportunities to share a lot of the things they do. Even if they have, they see enough sana, and we do a lot of things behind the scenes, things that watu hawezi imagine that kuna watu huzifanya. Maps tunafikirianga tu kuna kimashine tu kinaekangwa tu kinajua, kumbe kuna mtu anaweza kaa chini achole map. So these things, so I promise to be doing this, even to say things that I do behind the scenes, and other people who what they do behind the scenes. And thank you so much for coming, and I hope that people here got to learn one or two things. And so kitumia Google Map from one place to another, remember that these guys are the one who have worked hard to make sure that this has happened. So wewe tukiambiwa tuna kasichana wanasemanga kasichana kasichana kameniambia ni turn right na nilikuwa nafaa kwenda left. So so thank you so much, and I think it was amazing to have you. So thank you so much for tuning in. I think let me see whether there are people who are following online. I can see TikTok tuko na jamaa anaitwa Fred James. Dzanga. You know that guy?
I know Dzanga.
So amekuwa live hapa, and then I can see someone who is called Balak. Naona mwingine anaitwa Peter Diamond tulisoma na yeye high school. Laima yeye alikuwa deskmate actually. And then neighbor nyumbani. There is another one called Pauline amejoin sahi. That is TikTok. I don't know whether YouTube tulikuwa na wengine. Let me check. Just a minute. So but thank you so much for those who have been watching. Kama huku live, if you are watching, you will be watching this later. Please comment, ask questions. Engineer Dzanga is always available to answer your questions. And
ukiniita engineers board of Kenya wanaweza nifukuza. But yeah, I am an engineer. So I won't take that title away from me. So yeah, engineer Dzanga atakujibu yote unataka zote. We can even have an in-depth conversation because you see it's a lot of stuff. Yeah, so I'm open. Usiogope reach out. Mi sitakupush away.
Yeah. It is my first time getting to learn some few things about geospatial. So I think another interview nitakuwa na maswali mingi sana. Juu nitaenda kufanya more research. Na from this class today, at least nimelearn something that I can go and do more research. So I think we get to do this. Tushamaliza. Thank you for coming.
Asante sana.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in. See you in the next one. And this has been recorded at ZerodB Creative Studio. And if you are starting a podcast, if you're planning to start a podcast, either live like the way we are doing right now, we are ready for you. So all you have to do is book your session. And actually this September, we have amazing offer that is for you, that when you come and record one episode from here, we give you a chance to record another one for free. So you don't have to say that I will start my podcast next year. Start it now. Get it done right now, and actually we are here to support you. All you have to do is to plan your content, and then even if you have not planned your content, we can help you to do that. And then the next thing is to sit down and share your views. Speak out what you have. And thank you for tuning in. See you in the next episode. Adios muchachos. Subscribe. Subscribe bana. Tufike 1000. Tuko 741 and we are getting
subscribe.
To do this.
Haitakuuma.
Yeah.
Haitakuuma. We subscribe too.
Subscribe. Yeah, and share, comment. See you in the next one.